Greetings, everybody. Hello, hello. We are at our first holiday season. Well, actually, I guess I'd say our second one, at least for me, being a school bus driver. This is like the first official week I got off for any kind of break, and getting very heavily into music and songwriting and things of such. Been burying myself deep in my studies and loving music as always. And tonight I'm here to do episode 5 of Raw Power and High Energy with you, and I hope tonight you will enjoy this one. As always with me, I've tried to showcase some bands or songs that I personally have been able to play either on my 80s playlists or any other previous shows that Francisco's allowed me to host. So I try to run the gambit a lot and try to really soak my heart and soul into a lot of other bands and songs that I think are kind of being missed or maybe not as known and deserving of attention. And I love to keep this music alive. So thank you for being here tonight with me for episode 5 of Raw Power and High Energy. And so anyway, to start the night off, this, I say, is just as much as pretty much everybody my age feels that New England's been, I'm sorry, not New England, I apologize, England, Great Britain, really has always been the epicenter of beginnings of heavy metal. I definitely believe it without a doubt. I mean, come on, look. You have Motorhead, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Venom, Saxon, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on and on. So, there are so many new wave of British heavy metal bands that I can remember hearing so many names just flooding the early scene. By the time it hit Philadelphia in the 80s, like I always say, we read most of these reviews and articles in magazines and didn't really get to see a lot of these bands come into the record stores unless you either ordered it by name and you happened to be there at the time when they had it. There's import sections and stuff like that. The famous wall-to-wall sound and video I was talking about. And a lot of people always, besides the bands I already mentioned, a lot of people always, really speak highly of Angel Witch. Personally, for me, they don't strike me as interesting as some of the other bands that I think were better and more deserving of attention. And there's one band that I'm going to start the night off with that's part of that New England, I keep saying New England, I'm sorry, New Wave of British heavy metal, excuse me, that I see get a little glimmer of attention here and there, but man, I got to say, I would recommend this album if you haven't heard it yet. If you want to, kind of stockpile in your New Wave of British heavy metal collections, or maybe pull these records out off the shelf or wherever you have them in a case or a box, whatever it may be. This one I want to put out to Mr. Frazier if he's here tonight. I told him, the first song was going to be for him as a dedication to, him being Scottish and homeland of, England. I want to start this one off with a new wave of British heavy metal band that I believe deserves great attention and just didn't really get as much attention, I think, that a lot of other bands did. So, number 1 tonight, man, this band is Jaguar. And off their Power Games album in 1983, this album starts off with a great song and it sets the tone for the whole album. It is called The Dutch Connection. I think that album's great. And I think for the longest time, it didn't get as much attention, like I said, as some of the other bands, but more so than a lot of other ones that really sink low on the radar. But Jaguar, that album, that is a fantastic new wave of British heavy metal album. I mean, 83, it's great. You know, a lot of bands were already kind of paving their way early on, as I said, but that's a really a great album, I think, to represent the sound of new wave of British heavy metal. And of course, there's everybody hears, Diamond Head and all that, and Blitzkrieg and Satan and all that. There's so many of them. It's, for me, it was way hard to always keep up with that, because by the time I heard most of these bands, it was like 80. It was about 84 when a lot of them started to make their way over, into the stores. A couple in 83, things like that. Mostly the doors opened in 82, like I always said, getting Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast, Venom, Black Metal, and Motorhead's Overkill for Christmas. Already knowing Judas Priest and stuff too before that, and those things. I mean, wow, what a time! It really sets the tone for heavy metal in Europe and then hitting America. So, just a shout out to Jaguar for being a part of that. It's a great album. Recommend the whole thing if you haven't heard it. That album's a great album to spin, start to finish, man. It'll keep you going, man. That's some great high energy. Another band here, my second choice tonight, is also an English band. Again, part of the new wave British heavy metal. Maybe not in the beginning. I'm not sure exactly when they started this next group, but boy, did they make a mark on me and my brother, because my brother was the one that initially bought the first album in 83, their debut album, and it was wonderful. I mean, the covers always sold us back in those times. And I'm pretty sure most people I talk to that are in my age group or my generation will say the same thing. The cover caught you and attracted you and sold you. Like, I got to know what that is. You pick that thing up and you spin it around. You start reading those song titles. If there's a band photo, that was a big indicator too, if it was cool. So, there's so many of those bands that it was such a rich time. This next band, though, their second album, I thought was even better than their first. And I love their first album. I think it was a very great heavy metal album when they came out in 83 with See You in Hell. But by the time it was 1985, they put their second album out. And I remember hearing the song Final Scream on Metal Shop on the radio on 94 WYSP. On Saturdays, we had Metal Shop, the heavy metal radio station, and they played this song for their new album. And I loved the album. And it was like, I already loved See You in Hell, but Fear No Evil was 3 times better to me. Love this album start to finish. And this song here off of Grim Reaper's Fear No Evil, this here, I just say, this for me, this song is a constant banger. And this is high energy, man. It's high energy. And for the record, I happen to appreciate Nick Bocott's guitar and lead playing, especially. He does a lot of ripping leads in this song. So let's get this fire going with this thunderstorm of sound in the air tonight. Grim Reaper off of Fear No Evil. Rock and roll tonight.
What do we want? Red hot rock and roll. I can't hear. Red hot rock and roll. Red hot rock and roll. Red hot rock and come on!
I love that song. That's like sets a great middle tone for when you flip over to side B on that album, man. That's the end of side one for that album. But I love that album, Fear No Evil. I mean, I love See You in Hell. After that, I kind of dropped off with Grim Reaper. I know they did Rocky the hell after that. I think it was a couple years later by the time they got that album out. And I should probably touch on it again just to double check and make sure, I didn't miss nothing there again. It's like I say, I'm not the everything guy. I just, every once in a while, I have to realign and check myself once in a while and revisit certain things to really, see where my head's at anymore with certain things, but that, that's a really great, sophomore album. And it's a very aggressive album. I mean, it really is. It's one of those albums I can personally play start to finish without skipping a track. It is one of those albums. And I don't think it gets talked about too much. I don't hear that album get spoken about as much, not as much as, Fear No Evil. I mean, See You in Hell. I'm sorry. I'm messing them up. Anyway, so that's Grim Reaper. And that right there is intense, high energy. I love Nick Bocott's playing. And Steve Grimmett's voice is absolutely outstanding. For the record, I really wasn't into him doing Onslaught. By the time he did Onslaught, and they were kind of off the radar for me anymore. So nothing against it, just wasn't my thing no more to hear that. I wanted him in Grim Reaper, nothing else, but that is me. Okay, so my third pick, song number 3 tonight. For anybody coming in here, I hope you'll enjoy this. This band here has always been a really deep influence for me. There's quite a few. But there's something about Canada, in my opinion, there's something about that area. I think it's probably because they had such a tough time getting tours and real good record deals and such that it probably brings out so much more mental aggression out in their songwriting or albums or their attitude or just through execution of how they portray their band and their music. Or maybe it's just me projecting my thought of it, back then as well. But man, so many bands influenced me so much out of Canada. And this one in particular, for me, each one of their albums has its own personality, but damn it to hell if it don't have its own very unique and distinct sound. The guitars, the drums, and the vocals. To me, there is no other band I can say that ever sounded like this to me in that time period in the 1980s. I think the guitarist, John Ricci, is absolutely phenomenal. He is one of my top 10 in heavy metal music. I love this man's guitar playing. I just love it. And Danny Beeler's vocals from Exciter. I mean, when that man screams, he's just as intense as Stay Sheepdog McLaren. Well, Exciter being a very heavy influence for me. By the time they did Long Live the Loud, I think they were really at their height. That was their third album. It was, Violence of Force set a great tone for them. I mean, it was a real big step up, from Heavy Metal Maniac, which is love that album start to finish. I think it's a brilliant album. I love Old Exciter. Love it to death. World War III, that was a great bonus track song. I thought it was so cool. But, a bonus track that I think, it happened at the time period where so many bands did EPs. Exciter did an EP like right around the time they did Long Live the Loud. And this EP, this song that did not make it on Long Live the Loud as much as Riders from Darkness, which wound up on Speed Metal Kills compilation, Volume 1, that Riders of Darkness song, I thought was great. I wish that song and this song here that created the Feel the Knife EP wound up on that record. But you know what? We still have Feel the Knife. And for this song, it's one of the greatest Exciter songs. I love it to death. If you haven't heard it, you're going to hear it now, man. So, off of Exciter's 1985 EP from Feel the Knife, Feel the Knife. I think that's one of the greatest unsung Exciter songs to exist. That song's just pound, pound, pound. I mean, that's just a shrill steel stabbing blast of intense heavy metal thunder right there. I love that song, man. Exciter's a really great band that did so much for the heavy metal scene for the 1980s. In my thoughts and opinions, they're one of the best to come out of the Canada, in my opinion. Danny Beeler's voice too, man, that just soars. I mean, that guy's a machine on that drums, and he's just built for screaming heavy metal lyrics, right? And John Reese's ripping guitar, them solos, every time he hits, he dives on that, man. I love that, man. He's like a wizard with that stuff. So anyway, that was Excited with Feel the Knife. Great EP. My next song here comes once again out of the new wave of British heavy metal scene. There's a lot of these coming along. This specific band here, label mates of Venom, love them. They're great. Their first three albums I thought were really great. A crucible, existential, extreme heavy metal power, and raw power and high energy. I think this band amplifies it 50 times fold in their early years. It's a shame when they got to America and got Americanized, they really, I believe, lost their way. They're one of those bands that by the time they hit American soil, it's like the fucking United States is cursed, man. All these bands start out great in their respective home countries, and then they come to America and you get shit sometimes, not all, but sometimes. And I just, I personally, I'm disappointed when I look back and I think about that, all the potential a lot of these bands had. And for some reason, America, and it's got to be the business end of it, it changed them. That's just the way that me and my friends saw it. Because the greatness that these bands were, it always left a great mystery for us. Like, wow, imagine knowing these bands or seeing these bands in their home countries when they started against when they come to America. And it's like you want to hear those early songs, those things that really made you charged, energetically charged, and rushed your blood to have the intensity live in front of you, and just enjoy that. And it's like it disappears. But I'm a fan of bands that they're great live. I mean, when they're great on album, when they can perform live and have an intensity level either equal to or even better than the album songs, I think is a very rare occasion to have that happen. I do. Like a perfect example for me, I always say, is Kiss Alive 1 and 2. Those live albums, and I know they went back and they re-recorded some of the parts, but in general, the idea of those albums, I mean, look what Alive has done for Kiss when it came out. It saved them, from being completely bankrupt in Casablanca going under. That album saved them. So every once in a while, live records, I'm not that great of a fan of them later. As they got later, I don't know. I guess it just depends on the band and what maybe you're looking for. But this band here, from the new wave of British heavy metal era and their early on career, they did a live album in 1984 and put it out on Important Records Megaforce. One of my favorite new wave of British heavy metal bands outside of Saxon and Tank and of course Venom, was Raven. And those early albums to me still stand the test of time. They hold up way better now. They aged wonderful, just like that Jaguar albums aged well. I think this is one of the best heavy metal from the 1980s, heavy metal live albums that I could put on today, and I love hearing it. It is great captured art live on record. It's brilliant. I mean, and for three guys, they're so athletically wild. And there's that crazy high energy and that raw power, aggressive, thundering heavy metal songs that just, they shatter and shake your bones, man. I love it. And I picked a song off of their Live at the Inferno album that only appeared on a compilation album. And I forget the name of the comp album, but there was a comp album, very rare one. And Raven put a song on this comp album. And this was the only time this song appeared except for the live album. So when I heard it live, I was like, shit, I need to hear the studio version of this song. And I didn't hear it till way later. But the live version of the song, I think is outstanding because it sold me. And it keeps me interested. So with this being said, right here for high energy and raw power, Raven live at the Inferno, this song, Let It Rip.
Give you the same effect as a curry, it's a blast up your arse. This is called Let It Rip. I got more running, it's too overload. The breakdown of the city won't do as I've been told. I better come into shine out there on my own, breaking all the barriers to all alone. Can't you see what it means to me? Can't you see what it means to me? Well, let it go. Let it best that should go. Let it rip, let it rip, let it rip, let it rip. Yeah, let it just reborn, so good to be alive. Got my phone open, I wish I'm gonna find. What the hell is that? Don't need no refresh. Just wait, I'll stop this door. As a force smash. Can't you see what it means to me? Can't you see what it means to me? Well, let it go. Let that section go. Let it rip. Let it rip. Let it rip. Let it rip.
I hope you were able to enjoy that. If you're a Raven fan, I'm pretty sure you probably might have even known where that song, what comp that came off of. And I forget the name of that comp, but it was a pretty interesting comp. But that song, man, I always thought it was awesome. And that's the first time I heard the song was on that live album. I was like, fuck. I just love it. I mean, three-piece bands back in the 80s. There was a real, I think, sonic magical current just going through our solar system, around the planets, glaring off the sun, the shine of the moon at night must have been just so cosmic among us, man, for having that real enthusiastic, raw power and high energy. But I love that Live at the Inferno album. It is a great live album. If you haven't heard the whole thing, I of course recommend it. It is a great live sounding album. Of course, everybody is going to Live on Dead. That's an untouchable live record. I get that, but this one being a full on live album in the '80s at that time, I think it's phenomenal. So kudos to Raven. I love that song, Let It Rip. We're going to move this along here. We're staying in England again. And oddly enough, man, I think that this next band just frankly doesn't get enough attention at all, because I think they very much contribute a great place for that hardcore punk crossover into heavy metal stature in even in their earlier days when they were obviously a punk band. I mean, the look to me, they were like GBH Discharge, but they totally sound like you got your Iron Maiden, Judas Priest sort of here and there sort of things, and very great classic heavy metal sound going with a raw power of punk. I think this band really amplifies that definition perfectly. And I just don't think that this band gets enough attention, but I love them. And I think they deserve a little attention tonight. So I hope you enjoy this next pick. So out of 1986's Forward in the Battle, this is English Dogs, Ordeal by Fire.
glory and fearless and high. Facing a wealth and fit for a king. I've come back and found victory. Power in my hands and I realize that the true king is me. Ruling the lamb of the sword. Power in my every word. The flame of the ghost is alive. Immortal, now I'll never die. Ruling the lamb of the sword. Power in my every word. The flame of the ghost is alive. Immortal, now I'll never die.
Well, if you haven't never heard English Dogs before, I've always loved that band, especially that album. And the Metamorphosis album is a good one too. Well, actually, that's an EP, but it's still a great one. All their early material, it's really great, classical style, like heavy metal songs, riffing, but a great punk attitude. It's, to me, they are one of the best perfect crossover punk metal bands that I've seen come out of the 1980s. I think they're one of the best. And I also think they're one of the ones that really slid under the radar of a lot of others through the time. But that album alone, I think, doesn't get really as much credit as being a great, aggressive album for what that is and what that style really shaped some of the things in the 1980s. By that time, you're talking 86. So it really played a good part in the underground scene, that album. I remember we all loved it. And the funny thing is, them album covers, because I was a big Dungeons and Dragons player, and me and all my friends, there was times where there'd be, and this isn't an exaggeration, we had probably close to 25 people playing D&D a lot, and we used to always do it in my house, in my room. I had a pretty big bedroom back on West Walnut Street in Kensington. And even like I said before, even our girlfriends used to play with us too. And I was always the dungeon master. I was the one that made the campaigns up. But we would play albums like this in the background in the room and just role play all day. Dungeons and Dragons, horror movies, Mad Max, Conan, all that stuff. And these records, man. So if you haven't heard this album, I think that song's a very good slice of what I'm talking about a great traditional classical heavy metal style feel to it with a punk element to its drumming and all, you know? So that's English Dogs for you. Forward into Battle, 1986. Next up, this is Homage to Texas. And no, I'm not talking about Necrovore, because Necrovore is very obvious. Very obvious. And I have played them before already on my 1980s. My 1980s episodes. So, like I said, I'm trying to pick things that never made it to me hosting the show. So I'm trying to pick a lot of either songs, albums, or bands that never been on with me. This band hasn't been on with me yet. But I got to say, this album here, their debut album, if I remember right, Zomba Records was their own record label because they couldn't get a record deal. I'm not sure if that's totally true in that story, but that I can remember hearing that. And it might have even been Lewis, the drummer, that told me about this. They put about 3 albums out, but this album here that I'm going to play next out of Texas, when we were making Stellar Exorcism for Bloodstorm, this album was a heavy rotation album for me. I can remember playing this album a lot at the time. I'm not saying it influenced that in a sense, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't influence me, because it did. So I have to give some respects to this album and this band, because I don't think this band gets enough credit for what they've done in the underground scene, and especially out of Texas, where you have a lot of bands. Maybe some of you disagree, but I love this album, and it needs some praise here. I think it's a great self-paid for, on their own record label, great debut album for what it is, man. I love it. So out of Texas, Corpus Christi, Texas, Devastation, off of Violent Termination. This song, Massive Devastation.
Now living in the nuclear age. This world was us, it's not a deadly cage. We possessed us so far, now there's no turning back. Existence will end at the next attack. Massive devastation, mankind has stood its fate. Massive devastation, no remorse, it's not too late. We'll see heaven fulfilled now. Citizens are on time, won't tell. Lives will live our own decision. We're victims of our own free will. Even people who try to hide, keep the truth in the back of their mind. See the truth, their face, their fist, they kill, and they want to die. Massive devastation, mankind has stood its fate. Massive devastation, no remorse, it's not too late. Sky turns black, the sun explodes. People are fried on the road. The earth is burnt to the crust. Bodies are instantly turning to dust. Now is the time, the last battle's won. The work is over, and no fighting won. No life was spared, every soul is lost. This is the end, it's the final holocaust. Massive devastation, it's total annihilation. Massive devastation, the end of our creation.
Well, I love that album. That is a great self-funded debut album from that band. I always admired that when bands, especially back in the 80s, had to, out of pocket, put their own albums out. And it's the truth of it is, I've done that for a while. Most of my things have been out of pocket, except when I got lucky with Heartmouth doing Barbarian Wrath, and then Cheryl took over, later, and now going on forward. And, 80s were such a really juicy time for the underground. And, as always with me, I always got to pay homage to the ladies of the heavy metal underground scene back in those times too, because they set the tone for women in heavy metal and extreme music in that decade. And one of my favorite vocalists, we had her on here, I think it was over, I bet, like almost 2 years ago, about 2 years ago. I did an interview with this woman, and I think she's one of the best female vocalists and performers on stage. I love her to death. She's nothing but high energy and raw power, and I love her to death, man. From her second album, Betsy Bitch, when she came back as the Bitch Is Back, this song here is definitely the tone of us men. It's almost like this song is like a dedication to the heavy metal rock and roll women loving us men. That's how I see it, but Betsy, what a hardened, pure rock and roll, high energy soul she is, man. This is one of my favorite songs off her second album, The Bitch Is Back. This one here, for us, I believe, this is just a great one. So make sure you do it. Headbanger! Betsy Bitch is one of the top 3 female heavy metal vocalists of all time for me. And those of you who know me, it's Kate DeLumbria from Athletes Number One, and then Ann Boylan, and then Betsy. They, they're like my top 3. But fuck, I love that Bitch album, man. That Bitch is Back album. It's great. I love that song. Has great rock and roll energy put into it. And that's something else that I really appreciate when bands put that hardened edge of rock and roll into the heavy metal with it too. And you get the right woman's voice behind it, and it just does. It amplifies the energy level even more. At least to my ears, it does. So one more homage to the ladies tonight from a band I did not get to play or portray yet, but definitely needs to not be missed, forgotten. This next band here, used to read them heavily in a lot of fanzines. They were reviewed a lot. If I remember right, I know they're from France, and especially because Sybil is Alex Cullen Torkelane's sister. I don't know if I said his last name right. Alex McGresser had a sister, Sybil, had her own band. And Alex played the drums on this demo for her sister back in these times. I always thought the demo title was silly. But that's funny because the name of the demo is Silly Symphonies from the band Witches out of France. This is Sybil's band. And Alex, her brother from Aggressor, is playing drums on it. Listen to the skill and genius that Sybil has behind her guitar work and songwriting. So, out of France, this 1988 demo, it's Silly Symphonies demo. This song here is Lycanthropy intro into Lascive Aggressive. Check this out. Oh, wow. Okay. I thought it went longer than that. Anyway, so that was Witches out of France. That's a band I've not heard people brush by my ears in a long time, but I remember that demo. And I said, damn it, it's about time they get played, man. Great. I mean, that's a great demo. It really is. I'm sure, like everything else, somebody put it on CD somewhere. I haven't seen it yet, and I believe they did put an album out. I think it was put out on Relapse a long time ago. I could be wrong. Maybe it was Nuclear Blast. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was. I think there was an album put out, and I don't know if any of these old songs are on it. But anyway, that is the 1988. That, to me, I remember that demo was a popular demo being reviewed back in those days. Right around the time Nuclear Death was being praised a lot, so was Witches. I can remember that definitely. This was the demo. I wanted to pay some homage to them. Hail France, right? And Aggressor, too. I mean, Alex. I mean, I met him a long time ago. Well, I met him on the 97 tour with Fabs doing Enslaved. I got to meet him. He was there at one of the shows. So it was really cool to meet him. I didn't meet Sybil, but I met him. Great. Anyway, Witches. There you go, man. So shout out to them. Moving right along here. This one. Megan. This band is from your home state. And again, I haven't heard people mention this band, surprisingly enough. If they have, I'm not aware. So I was like, God, I think people need to check these guys out, man. They're kind of a missing gem in, the mid 1980s. This demo was from 86. And, I'm thinking, this demo, I'm like, damn, this band is really aggressive. It's great. It's in Connecticut, And I think they appeared on a Metal Massacre. I think it was Metal Massacre Volume 7. I think it was 7. I don't know if it was this song, but I'm pretty sure they appeared on a Metal Massacre. But I remember this band being, mentioned in passing in, demo review articles here and there in fanzines in the late 80s. But I haven't heard anybody really give them a shout out yet. So if anybody else gave me a shout out, great, because I'm giving them one here tonight, man, representing America on the East Coast, out of Connecticut. Megan, your home state, dear. You got to check these guys out, everybody. 1986. This is Witch's Hammer, and this song, Flames of Hell. Wow, abrupt ending. So anyway, if you haven't heard Witch Hammer, that band used to be reviewed in fanzines back in that time, and I never got to get my hands on it until way later. That demo, I shit you not, man. It's great. If that's your first time here, I hope you enjoy that one. But that's just what I'm talking about pure aggressive. This is raw power and high energy right there, man. Megan, I don't know how far away they live from you because Connecticut's a little small state. But anyway, that was for you, dear friend. Which I'm 86 too. Fire time, right? Anyway, I want to move this along now. This next band here, from Germany, and they started out. They're one of those bands, like quite a few, that they started out with one name, and then when they found out another band had that name earlier on, because without internet and all that other thing, you only had, the papers or a fanzine or word of mouth or seeing it was televised on a television cable show or something. Did you know? It's like, oh shit, that band has the same name as us and they have a record out in this country. I know quite a few bands did have that happen those time periods, which is kind of fun. But this band here out of Germany had the same name as a band in England called Avenger. And when they found that out, they had to change their band name. Well, they didn't have to, but they did, because Avenger was obviously before them in Germany. They were already in England. So they're like, damn it, we'll change our name. So from their first album that they did under Avenger, this is the first album they did under their new name, which would have been their second full-length album. And this band, to me, that I'm going to play next, I never got to put them on any of the episodes before, because there's so many awesome bands that come out of Europe, especially from Germany. That country was just filled with great, aggressive thrash metal, speed metal, black metal, technical metal, progressive, heavy metal, the whole encompassing genre, everything that makes heavy metal the best attributes out of it in the 80s. I think Germany was probably, in my opinion, the best ones in the area in the time period to have it. And this album, I couldn't believe my ears when I heard this album for the first time. And there's so many great songs on it. And they emphasize to me, for me, this is even more technical and but aggressive, not sacrificing any heaviness or intense power and energy goes with their technical execution of their songs. I find them very unique, just like Coroner is very unique band. But I think this band is heavier and more aggressive with their songs. This album is, if you haven't heard this yet, you're going to hear it tonight. So from 1986, the band Avenger turned into Rage out of Germany. And this was the first album they did under the band name Rage, off of the Reign of Fear album. This song is the second song. Just listen to the changes. They're awesome. Deceiver!
You interfere with my free will.
Man, that album, for me, again, that is the most intense, aggressively technical, extreme, forceful album. One of the best of its genre from the 1980s was that Rage, Reign of Fear album. That every song, it's just as awesome as that. But that song, I always love the aggressive when it slide that that slide with the drumming. I thought that always caught me so much. That was definitely a soul grabber, man. That's like Arnold Schwarzenegger's the Terminator just reaching in and going with that song. I love it so much. So that was Rage. Their first banner of that name, from Avenger to Rage, from the Reign of Fear album, the Siva. High energy and raw power, right? Moving along here, I'm going to take us to a track for a band from the 1970s, actually 1977. I'm going to go to here from a band that one of my most prized, loved bands in my heart and soul, Motorhead, always praised, and actually did some. They did some shows with very early on, and I think they even did a recording called Motor Damned at one time too. But this band here, for myself, the Ramones, Sex Pistols, and these guys, the Damned, really made that era of punk the defying axe chop, right? Like a chop in half to rock and roll. That those bands were like, they chopped rock and roll in half, and it needed a good kick in the gut. Lemmy used to say it all the time. Punk was like a good kick in the gut. And heavy metal is too. So I have to pay homage to these guys, man, because they were from like the beginning, and I never had a chance to really play them. But I appreciate it. And these albums and these bands, they're so much more important today, just as critical as they were when they started, because it made a whole era. And I celebrate that, and I enjoy it, and I want to keep it living on. And these guys will play on my bus once in a while too. One of my favorite songs by them tonight, going back 1977, The Damned. And by the way, the singer, I always thought he looked like a motorcycle vampire. I love it. Dave Bavian, I think was his name. He was like a motorcycle vampire. That was like the first real gothic looking guy, with the white face, the dark eyes, but he would wear the leather jacket. It was awesome. So The Damned, 1977, neat. All right. Well, there was the Damned with Neat, 1977. Have to give a celebration to the raw power and high energy of punk rock, and they were one of the absolute purveyors of its time and genre. Next band here, following in the late 80s, with a lot of real spastic, crazy, chaotic, mayhemic, just sheer speed, punk, thrash, aggressive chaos. I used to write to these guys back when they were going pretty strong, especially around their beginning album off a neat record, Shark Attack, and I always found that album to be, at the time period when it came out, I thought that album was very unique. And I remember reading a lot of really great reviews in the underground sections of magazines about Shark Attack. And, I love that album for what it is. For me, with my ears, I was, 16 when that album came out. It was in 87. New Renaissance Records was, for me and my friend, it was the hottest underground record label at that time period. If an album came out on New Renaissance Records, at least a dozen of us would buy it. That's what happened. We trusted that label and those bands. And this is a band I loved. This and Biermach, two great albums. But this one here, Shark Attack, this was the beginning of it for me, man. This is raw power and high energy out of Oregon. I believe the state of Oregon. I don't know sure exactly where they came out. Maybe it was Portland. But 1987, Shark Attack, their debut album. This song I picked off from Wehrmacht, this is called Napalm Shower. There we go. Well, that was Shark Attack, Wehrmacht's debut album. What an aggressive debut. It really is. And at that time, I thought that was a unique band. A lot like Cryptic Slaughter, I thought. I kind of categorized them in the same avenue of intensity and song play. But nevertheless, a very standout band for what it is. Great album, memorable, very memorable when you hear it for the first time. So that's a shout out to Wehrmacht Shark Attack. Great album. It needs some attention, and I wanted to give it here tonight. We're going to move this list along here, folks. So there's a lot of bands that, especially in the mid to late 80s, where a lot of the hardcore and punk influence, trying to put a lot of political things like Dayglow Abortions and Mucky Pop and Exploit It and all those type of bands, COC, DRI. The list goes on and on, Gnostic Front, all the bands that really get politicized so much because it was the thing. That's just what it was. It kind of set the tone for the idea and the influential standard of that style. Well, when you get the crossover bands that are thrash, and hardcore, at least in hardcore in the sense of the way the 80s hardcore is, not this new wave or this new metal shit, which I can't take any of it, man. I can't stand any of it. The way that was in the 80s, those crossover bands, there were certain ones, they were just brilliant. I mean, the emergence of the two styles were brilliant. Carnival was a great one when they did Retaliation. That's one of the best crossover albums of all time, I think. Crumbsuckers, probably when it comes to the hardcore end of a metal crossover band, I think they were the best. Well, DRI, they lasted longer. DRI did. But, you see what I'm saying? But then there was the heavy metal side that they were metal, but they put the hardcore punk element into it. And this next band here, coming from the tri-state area up in New Jersey, New York area, in 1986, they put out their debut album. And they were, for me, actually my brother and me, all of us, this album was heavy metal with the hardcore put into it. That's the way we saw it. And songs like Hang the Pope and Lesbians, aggressive, so intense and aggressive and foul. It amplified. I've got to have it because nothing reeked of heavy metal potency than it was if it was so foul and aggressive and offensive. So Nuclear Assault, I think, did it the best on the heavy metal end of the crossover side. And in 1986, they put out their debut album, Game Over. And from start to finish, that album was a masterpiece. And I know it gets attention, but I haven't heard it that much in a while. And one of my favorite songs off of there, I'm going to play right now. And I love this album. Enjoy the high energy and the raw power of Nuclear Assault's Game Over. This song I chose off of that album, Cold Steel.
We're
All right. Well, it stopped early again, but anyway, that's one of my favorite songs off of that album. I love it. The transition is the way that it's played, and I remember getting to hear that live way back when, and they did a great job, Nuclear Assault, in the late '80s for the crossover heavy metal, thrash, hardcore, and like I said, I think I put them a little bit more on the heavy metal side than the hardcore side. But yeah, and then they did The Plague, which was a good EP, and then what they did, Survive, great album, and Handle with Care, and that's when I really dropped off for Nuclear Assault. But they had a nice run for my ears, and that album especially, great album, Game Over. It's an essential late 1980s listen for raw power and high energy. Staying in the tri-state area of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, this band from Bayonne, New Jersey, appeared. It was one of the favorite bands off of New Renaissance Records. Loved them to death. Heard them on Thrash Metal Attack compilation album from New Renaissance. That's when I learned to fall in love with them. And my brother's friend Tony Darab, who we went to school with, belonged to a sort of a record club, and he would order a lot of these records and get them shipped to his house because the older guys always had money. Us younger guys had to kind of feed off the scraps of their turntables. But Tony got this when he got their debut album, Kill for Pleasure. I was like, wow, Creator's Pleasure to Kill. And then we have Blood Feast, Kill for Pleasure. Love the artwork of that too. It screamed like, I've got to have it. There's that artwork again, Drew Elliott artwork, so famous and popular for the time period. It created its own pop culture of identity. And, the Blood Feast albums had that. And then when they bought out their EP after their debut album, this song, I think, is sort of a lost gem. I don't hear it played that much or talked about, but it's a great EP nonetheless. It's only one new song, and then it's a re-recording of Bloodlust and Vampire. But the song, Face Fate, is one of their best songs, and I wish they did a whole full-length second album of songs like this. So to represent Blood Feast, as far as I'm concerned, after this EP, I wasn't into Chopping Block Blues at all. I didn't like it at all. I saw it live, was not impressed with any songs off of that album at all. I just wasn't. All I wanted to hear was the Kill for Pleasure songs, and it did play Face Fate live, and it was absolutely brutal when they played that song live. So I want to represent that tonight for Raw Power and High Energy. Off of Blood Feast, 1987 EP, Face Fate. This is Face Fate. If I could tell you folks, if you ever got to hear that song live, it was phenomenal live hearing that song. It really was. I can remember Empire Rock Club, seeing them there with I'm trying to remember who were they with. Bloodface was so good. It was, let me see. I think it was At War. Yeah. It was At War. Was it? Or Hallows Eve? Might have been Hallows Eve. I think it was Hallows Eve. It might have been Hallows Eve or At War. I don't know. It was two separate. But anyway, it was all around that same time period. But Blood Feast back then, man, they were fucking fire on stage. They were great. Awesomeness, man. So anyway, that song, Face Fate. I always wished they made a second album with songs like that, and it just never happened. So Blood Feast. This is the last song for the night, ladies and gentlemen. I need to move this along. All I can say is I appreciate your time and the energy you put in with me to be here tonight and celebrate this music that we love with raw power and high energy. And should the boss allow me to continue, I'll be back for an episode 6 when he sees it is time and do fit. And I will make a new list again and try to pick things that I didn't get to portray before, or maybe lost in the sauce somewhere. But I hope you enjoyed the list tonight, and you were able to really have your ears pleasured with raw power and high energy, the aggression, the violence, the loud, rebellious, obnoxious spirit of it, and the intense, chaotic bliss that it gives our hearts and souls. And in closing tonight, this band, I'm putting this one out to all my friends that love new wave of British heavy metal, because that seemed to be more of the blanket mostly tonight. It kind of steered more towards England, I guess. But I've played this band before on the channel. To me, this band here they've always been coined. They were the last true heavy metal band out of England. And they were on the same road, the hardened road of power and aggression as Motorhead, that energy and intensity. And yes, Fast Eddie Clarke produced one of their albums. And anyway, by 1984, this was their 4th album. And the only member to be in the band originally was Algie Ward. And he passed away just a few years ago. I love this band very much. This was the first time I got to really hear Tank in 1984. Read about Power the Hunter, Phil Pounds of Hades, those albums. I got to read mostly those, specifically because of the Motorhead tie-in. When I heard this album, I saw it in World War Sound video. I was like, there is that band. I have to have it. I picked it up on cassette, bought it home, played it. The first song on the album, it's a long song. That's why I'm ending with this one. But I want to dedicate this to all of you tonight that spend your time and energy here with me to celebrate music. I hope you find it in your hearts to find just as much honing and blissful energy that it has. So I'm just going to let it play, man. This is dedicated to all you. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Raw Power and High Energy. And ending tonight, this is Tank off their 1984 album, Honor and Blood. The war drags ever on.
no mistaking the mentions of his land as they slip blood on the sand. A strange religion is thrust through the Quran. We can lost in this land. Hades or heaven, they're under its command. Whatever rights had a man. Well, you're the bomb blast left around the world. And 2 World Wars past, and one to scatter the world. And as beyond you fell, the flames they shot down. I count the dead they have found. An unholy wall is raising hell to the ground. The war drags ever on. The war drags ever on. The war drags ever on. Ever on. An army seven, and a gun still in its hand, but it's just left to be damned. The many clever, so done as it was planned. Shoot the dogs where they stand. War is forever, as if we had the time. Change their thoughts in their minds. The end will never reflect another kind. Should be there just to die. We'll hear the bomb blast stuck around the world. With 2 World Wars past and one to scout the world.
All right. Oops. Where we at? There we are. Can you hear me?
I hear you, Francisco. I hear you.
Okay, man, I was having a rough time back here because I checked on YouTube and everything looked good, but on my end, for some reason, you were like just breaking up, and I'm like, oh fuck, where is he? I don't know where he's at, and I got kicked off one time. I'm like, oh fuck. So
Wow.
yeah, it was. Hopefully, I managed to kind of get through it because it was pretty rough. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it just once in a while a song would kind of cut off near the end, but not totally up. But I just figured it was a lag in some way. I figured there might be a storm because that's happened to me at times too. I understand that. So, but
yeah, there's storming around here, but I'm like, holy shit, where is he? This is what I saw. Oh no! So I'm just like, I'm like scrambling. I'm like, oh no! I'm like, all right, Chris, this is the time I need you to keep fucking talking.
oh my God. And I know I was wondering the time. I was like, oh my God, I know I like to talk and bullshit. I better keep it going. And lo and behold, you needed me to keep my yap open. Bravo.
So I forgot what song it was on. I think it was right before the Tank song. I literally got kicked off and I had to come back and get back in. I was like, fuck. But anyway, I enjoyed it. I thought the pace was great. I thought it matched because the show's called Raw Energy High Power.
Sure.
You kind of the pace kind of went with that, and yeah. So if I cut you off early or anything else, it was because I was like, fuck.
I figured there was something technical going on because, like I said, I had it happen to me, so I understand that. But on my end, it was running fine.
Yeah. Well, I checked the YouTube. I'm like, well, fuck, everything looks. There's nothing wrong there. And then but it was like I said, I got storms going on and whatnot. But anyway, great show.
Thank you.
I heard some stuff I never heard. That Witchhammer, I'd never heard that. That was great.
How did that escape you, right? When you think of them, like shit. Like I said, for the longest time, that band read about it here and there, heard about it here till way later. When I finally actually got, it wasn't until like the early 90s when I started getting some of those bands from the tape trading. Because we just didn't have, that wasn't in no store. You had to get somebody that had it, tape it, and mail it to you. That's the way the world was. Not like today. You just click, bam, everything's right there. There's something to be said for the adventure. And that was really, the biggest thing was the adventure of finding it. So I'm glad, I'm cool. I'm always happy to hear. Yeah. Especially you, because we're in the same generation. I'm glad. I think it's great that the music can live on.
That was great. That was fucking awesome.
I'm happy you liked it.
I'm awesome. That one was great.
Thank you.
All right, so we got about 4 minutes or so because I got to get out of here and do something, and then but I do want to remind everybody tomorrow is Frazier will be on with me starting at 8:00 my time. We're going to do a JOABA's Giving. There's going to be a bunch of dumb stuff and a bunch of cool stuff, and somebody probably is going to win some stuff. And, it's going to be a fun show. It'll be fun. So hopefully you guys that come in for show up for Chris, come check out another regular show as well. I think you'll enjoy it. And those of you that see Chris on Justin's channel, it's like, hey, can you have Chris on more? I was like, dude, Chris has been on this show for like fucking 4 or 5 years now doing his own shit. How about you just, look, just type his name in fucking YouTube and you'll find it.
I mean, that was cool. I appreciate. I mean, I'm not telling you nothing because you're in a band too. So it's just promotion, and Justin put out Passes from the Dragon Star. He's invested time and money into me. So of course, it's going to happen. But I gotta say, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut into you. But the truth is, when you came to me years ago and we started doing this, and I'm not just saying this, but this is just true. I took such a liking to you and everybody else on the channel. I feel so comfortable. It's like being around old friends from my old neighborhood in a sense, and you've given me that platform, and it's appreciated. I can't thank you enough. I say it. I know I say that all the time. It's probably one of the things that were written on my tombstone. Chris says, "Thank you for all your time and endless appreciation." That I mean, but it's true, and I value time, and I value people's energy into that stuff. But I really I'm grateful. I'm glad you enjoy me enough that you had me back. I want to I want to help provide to the music scene as a fan. I look at me. I'm a fan first of this music before a musician. I always thought that way because my thought is if I am not a fan of this music anymore, then I got to stop playing guitar and everything else because then that means I've lost my way. That's
Right.
just how I see it, plain and simple. So I think for me, it's a wonderful thing to do to share music with everybody, have a good time, enjoy it, and just let's celebrate this music and keep it alive. Keep all the other dumb bullshit out of it. Keep the wrong people in business out of things. Let's keep this music enjoyable, and let's trade ideas like we traded tapes in the '80s. Let's trade the songs and the thoughts and the ideas because I think it's definitely a great platform in our day and age. Your channel, I personally think what you do here and the people involved, all the people in the chat that I see all the time, are very critical to at least the American scene. I can't speak for the world, but the way I see it, the community you developed here over the years, I think is very critical to the survival of the American underground metal scene. And it's good. It's very it's a very natural setting. And it's good. That's the way it should be. And it's like the conversations you can have that you would have at a show, but you can actually have them together here and you can hear each other instead of going, "Hey, good to see you again." You know what I mean?
Right. I hear you.
So thank you so much for the time.
It's cool. Yeah, of course.
And I am going to have some things coming your way to add to
But
the
yeah,
show.
no, I'm glad. Oh shit, yeah, my fucking internet. But my yeah, no, it's cool that you go on with Justin. That's fucking cool as shit. But it's like, hey, if you really enjoy what Chris has to say, then how about you just look up Chris and you can watch these episodes and enjoy what he has to say even more.
Kids on my school
again,
bus
thank
down your
you,
channel more, buddy.
Thank all of you that fucking come in here and hang out. I always say that this show is not it's not about me. It's about the people that watch the show and support. That's why I don't that's why give Chris his platform. JD has his own thing that he can do on the channel, and that'll be something I'm going to do tomorrow as well. Is somebody's going to get a chance to basically do their own show by themselves, right, on the channel. Somebody that I think, somebody first of all that supports the channel a lot, and we'll see. Hey, you guys in the chat are going to pick. Hey, who do you think can do an hour and a half or whatever of whatever it is that they want to do. We'll do that because I like making it about the show, not about like any individual person. You know what I mean? And that's what I try to do. And yeah, I don't have the biggest following, but I don't care about all that. I just care about the people that come in here that continually support and support the show any which way they can. That's really all that matters. And I don't care about numbers. I don't care about any of that shit. I just want to have a good time. Like I said, this is another outlet for sharing stuff, and it's fun, and that's why I still do it. If I cared about numbers and all that shit, I would have stopped. It's going to be 5 years almost here pretty soon.
That's
we
long.
got a pretty good group of people here we got a pretty good group of people here that continually support and are I call regulars, and I
think so.
Absolutely pleased with that. That's cool as shit. So anyway, Chris, again, thank you. I want to remind everybody you can tune in tomorrow. And then since we mentioned Justin, my band is playing Justin's Fest in August in Cleveland, ETD. We're playing this show. So you guys that are in that area should come check us out. Come check out the rest of the bands. But before that, January here in Houston is going to be fucking great. It's going to be amazing.
I'm going to try to make that. I
Seeing
still
all of
am.
you here. Yeah, that's awesome. But
I want to.
All right, I give you a couple minutes to say any parting shots, Chris, and then we got to get out of here.
Okay, well, very soon I'm going to have CDs for the series Satyrian Reptiles from Cheryl Barbarian Wrath. I'm just waiting for them to show up in the mail. I'm sure customs, the way things have changed, but it's on route. And Justin from Hell's Headbanger sent me the Pessim's Dragonstar vinyls. They didn't get here yet, but they are on their way. I have the T-shirts. When everything else gets here, I'll make a big post about it and let everybody know what's going on. Of course, I want to send some things and donate through your Wheel of Stuffs to help support the show. Hopefully that will help benefit. Let me see what else. I have something lined up with the boss for a potential interview later. I hope it happens. I hope. Let me see what else I got going on. I'm just, I'm living and breathing music with all of you. And if you have any time at all, just, say hi to me. Stop by, say hi. I'm always, I'm not a hard guy to find, like Francisco said. And for the record, Mr. Francisco, I am turning kids on down here to JOABA because on my bus, a couple of kids were asking me because I don't know if you saw, I took a picture what the front of my bus looks like with all the pictures. Because that's just something I do. It's kind of like, we come from that generation. You put pictures up and posters of, the bands and groups that you like. Well, I do that on my school bus because I play music and I drive it. It helps me relax, just like these little things right here help me relax. So there's, that. Right. So I took a picture, and a lot of the kids will ask me these things, and I start telling them. Then all of a sudden, they ask me what I'm into, and I tell them. Then all of a sudden, they're looking me up, and a couple of them found your channel. So hopefully, the younger generation is getting their ears sonically greased with raw power and high energy from JOABA. And thanks everybody
awesome.
Yeah, and thanks again, everybody, anybody, when you give me time and energy, I appreciate it. It's priceless, and I'm glad to enjoy music with you. Whenever the boss says I could do number 6, I'll work on an episode 6. You know me, Mr. Francisco. I'm always happy to do whatever I can for you and the channel, and I'm still going to work on getting interviews with your permission.
Oh, yeah. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, later, everybody.
Thank
I got to get out of here. I got something to do, but you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Chris, thank you again very much.
Thank you.
Out of here. I think right now.
Get it, woman, get it.